رياض يا الطاش يلم عنا خط بكتابك الترحيب لو سراب ليلك وجنة بالدجا في الليل تسري.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone that's watching at home. Ready for Fundamentals of Tawheed, episode 43 today, mashallah. Just a quick message. I wanted you all to know that my dad and my brother are on the da'wah trail again. As you know, 2 weeks ago they were at the units, and today they're in East London training new volunteers getting ready for Eid in a few weeks. They send their salams and they're sorry they couldn't be here today, but we cleaned up the tops, as you know, and some gazebos and the tops were damaged. So if you would like to shade your Muslim brothers and sisters in Islam on the day of Eid, please contribute to the Da'wah project and support the Eid Salah. You can donate on the ep43 website, and inshallah we can begin with today's session. Bismillah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا إنه من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله تعالى وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم شر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. أما بعد. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, we continue the nubu'at, the prophecies. And today's prophecy that the Prophet ﷺ told us that we are going to fight the two tribes, Khuz and Karman. These are two tribes. So and this is in Bukhari, so he told the Muslims that you'll be fighting these two tribes. And it happened. This prophecy was fulfilled. عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لا تقوم الساعة حتى تقاتلوا خوزا وكرمان من الأعاجم حمر الوجوه فطس الأنوف صغار الأعين وجوههم المجان المطرقة نعالهم الشعر. The meaning, Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu reported that the Prophet ﷺ said, the hour will not be established till you fight with the Khuz and Karman from among the non-Arabs, Al-Ajam. Ajam means non-Arabs. Arabi and Ajami. They will be of red faces, flat noses, small eyes. Their faces will look like flat shields, and their shoes will be of hair. So this is what the Prophet ﷺ said, and this prophecy was fulfilled. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said this will happen before the hour, before Yawm al-Qiyamah, before the day of resurrection. So he's saying, لا تقوم الساعة حتى تقاتلوا. This is that what is going to happen. This will happen before the hour. And the hour will never be established until this prophecy is fulfilled. You see the challenge, because this information is coming from Allah Azza wa Jal, informing His Prophet. So the hour will not be established. If this prophecy is not fulfilled, then the hour will not. And so to people who really, I don't know, it's just a sickness, they talk about future, okay? And they predict this is going to happen and this is, and they give exact dates, okay? This is purely speculation. How can you say that this is going to happen? You're just guessing. You don't receive wahi from Allah Azza wa Jal. So why do you fall into this or tread on this slippery path? And if what you said didn't happen, those who believe you and those who follow you, okay, they will go back on their heels. Because you have given them hope. Hope. And they think this is the problem. This is due to the ignorance of the Muslims. And this is a sickness. That's why I'm warning you. They think what you say to them or what you tell them, because what happens when Muslims are, you know, their morale is low, like the situation in which we are. So if someone gives them hope and tells them this what is going to happen, and he gives them date, so all of them, they aspire and look forward for this prophecy, what this man said and prophesied, to be fulfilled. And many of all these things, those people who predict what is going to happen in the future, didn't happen. But with what the Prophet ﷺ said, yes, because this is wahi, revelation from Allah. So my advice for all of you brothers and sisters, and spread this message, okay? Never believe in what those people say. What will happen tomorrow, only Allah knows. And if it happened that this one who talks about events that will happen in the future, and that event happened, if this happened, the Prophet ﷺ told us, when Allah decreed a matter, because when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decreed any matter that this is going to happen, an earthquake is going to happen on this day, volcano will erupt in this area, famine will take place in this place. So whenever Allah decreed a matter, He talks about it. He speaks about it. And the moment Allah starts speaking, the angels in heaven, they become unconscious when they hear the voice of Allah. The first one to recover would be Jibreel alayhi salam. And Allah would inform him about what he decreed. And then Jibreel alayhi salam would inform the angels in all the 7 firmaments, heavens. Till this information of what Allah decreed reaches the inhabitants of the first heaven. So they talk, the angels among themselves, that this is what Allah decreed and this is what is going to happen. The eavesdroppers, the jinn, mustariq al-sham, those jinn who try to eavesdropping and try to snatch and get information of what is happening in the upper assembly. But after the advent of Islam, after the mission of the Prophet ﷺ, Allah protected the heavens and stopped the eavesdroppers by shooting stars. So any one of the jinn tried to go up to listen, a shooting star is waiting for him. The Prophet ﷺ, he told us that the jinn, they climb on top of each other. So long column, one on top of the other, the jinn. So the one who is very close to the first heaven, he hears part of the conversation, the talk that is happening between the malaika. So he gets that bit of information, but you have to keep in mind, he's seeing the shooting star coming. So he passes quickly, and when you are in a state of fear, you will not convey whatever you heard. You have no time. Yet, part of the information will be passed to the next and the next to the next. By the time it reaches the one who is on earth of the jinn, it's already reduced. It's not full. And then this one who's on earth will share this information with the human magician, the charlatan, the magician, fortune tellers, soothsayers, whatever you want to call them. And the Prophet ﷺ said, and this magician or fortune teller, he mixes with this piece of information, which is true, 99 lies. 99 lies. So he would tell the people, this will happen, this will happen, this will happen. And then he will mention what he received. The people, unfortunately, will remember only that piece of information which happened and occurred, that event. And they would neglect that he promised them that there are going to be 99 events to take place, and none of them happened. So if anyone says that and something happened, he is dealing with the jinn. Okay? Or some now, they say, we are using the alphabets, Arabic alphabets, and we calculate because each letter has a numerical value. And based on that, and then we count for example, the number of the ayat about the end of the existence of Israel. Okay. And they're saying it is going to be 2022. And that's why you find people saying, yeah, What if it didn't happen? Islam is wrong? No. This technique is absolutely wrong. And the people who believe in that and the followers will start to doubt. So any Muslim should fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and should not speculate, especially the future, because no one knows what is going to happen in the future except Allah. So that's why the ulama, they said, when it comes to the application of the prophecies, تطبيق النبوءات, we should not take a prophecy and say, this prophecy talks about what we are doing now. Who told you so? Maybe it is not yet, in the future. Maybe the description is similar of the situation, but we cannot be certain, yaqeen, mutayaqin, cannot be certain that this is what's going to happen. It cannot be. So that's why the ulama, they say we wait. And when it happens, when the event happens, then we say, yes, this has been fulfilled, and this is exactly what the Prophet ﷺ said. When the Prophet ﷺ told the Sahaba, a fire will erupt in Medina, and the people in Busra will see it in Sham. The students of knowledge used to write their homework using that light, though it is in Medina. So when this happened, volcano erupted in Medina, and that's why if you go to Medina, when you are landing, you see that black area. It's called Al-Harra. That is because of the lava of the volcano. Okay, so it happened. So when the prophecy is fulfilled, exactly, say this is what the Prophet ﷺ said. But we do not go and take the prophecy and apply it and say this, the prophecy means this, and it is talking about our current situation. We cannot be certain. So here the Prophet ﷺ in this hadith and others, he's saying, لا تقوم الساعة حتى تقاتلوا خوزا وكرمان من الأعاجم. So the prophecy will be fulfilled inevitably before the starting of the hour. The Prophet ﷺ said, بعثت كهاتين بين يدي الساعة. I am sent forth for you with the hour like this. And he used his two fingers. My advent, the advent of Islam, my mission, the message of Islam, and the hour are together like this. And now we have been 1400 years ago from the advent of Islam. So when he said like this, things are relative. What is the duration? We don't know. But no doubt, every day you are getting closer. And that's why you see the fulfillment of the signs of the hour. He said, as you know, the hour will not start until Arabia is turned into rivers and meadows. This Arabia which you see now, full of sand dunes, will come back. حتى تعود جزيرة العرب till Arabia returns and comes back to what it was before. Rivers and muruj, meadows, greenery. That was Arabia before. So the hour will not take place until this prophecy is fulfilled. So Muslims should not be pessimistic. This deen will prosper, this deen will reach everywhere. No single house on earth will remain without having Muslim member inside. But we should not speculate if we don't have any information mentioned about such things in the revelation, because only Allah knows exactly how things are going to happen and what the future holds for us. So the hour will not be established till you fight with the Hus and Karman, two tribes from among Al-Ajam, non-Arabs. And then he described them, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Not to belittle them now, as explained in the last session. Yes, this is describing their physical features. That's it. And our physical features, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made them to and fashioned us in such a way to acclimatize with the environment in which we live. Okay? If you are living in very cold environment, the nostrils will be narrow to give the air a chance to warm up before you inhale it. And the eyes will be reduced, the size. So rays reflected from the snows will not affect you. So there is a divine wisdom. So we should not say, look upon different races. We are better than them. No. No one is better than the other. We are all children of Adam. Children of Adam. So he's saying here, so he described them. So he said, Humr al-wujuh. They have reddish faces. So the faces are reddish. Flat noses. Small eyes. All this to show the greatness of Allah, the fashioner. because these features suit that environment. The faces will look like flat shields. Their shoes will be of hair. This prophecy was fulfilled. The Muslims, they fought the people of Qumran in the year 23rd Hijri and conquered under the leadership of Mujashi ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu. So this prophecy happened and was fulfilled. Another prophecy this is regarding Sayyidina Uthman radiyallahu anhu, the second caliph, the one the angels feel shy of. The son-in-law of the Prophet ﷺ, the Nurayn, the one who married two daughters of the Prophet ﷺ. They died, both of them, during his lifetime. And the Prophet ﷺ said, had I got a third one, I would have given her to you. This is Uthman, the second caliph. This is Uthman, whose waqf, the endowment, is still running today in Medina. You go to Medina, say, I want to see the well which Uthman radiallahu anhu gave to the Muslims, still working in Medina, teeming with water, abundant quantity of water. The waqf he made, the endowment he made, running in Medina. He, radiallahu anhu, as you know, he paid all the costs and expenses of the whole army, Jaysh al-Usra. Jaysh al-Usra. Al-Usra means hardship, difficulties. Muslims, they wanted to fight and to go out, but they have problem with the logistics. No money. Uthman said, I will pay for everything. Everything. Swords, shields, armors, arrows, spears, helmets, everything. Horses, camels, food, everything. Because he was well off, radiallahu anhu. He was rich. And this shows that being rich is a blessing from Allah. It's a virtue. It's not a vice. Being poor is not a virtue. But if you are rich, Allah blessed you. If you use this wealth and spend in the cause of Allah, it is a blessing from Allah Azza wa Jal. And you need to be thankful to Him, subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Sayyidina Uthman, he was well off. He was a businessman. They said when the caravan arrives from outside, from either Egypt or from Yemen, Okay, of course, the caravan is, of course, hundreds of camels. See, the caravan, when it enters Medina, you hear, things are shaking, that this is the caravan of Uthman arrived. So, to have the dunya in your hand, alhamdulillah, it's a blessing that you can use to serve your deen. So here, Sayyidina Uthman said, I will pay everything. And when he did that, the Prophet ﷺ said, Ma darra Uthman ma fa'ala ba'da al-yawm. No sin is going to harm Uthman after today. Anything Uthman does, it will be totally dissipated, totally immersed and dissolved in this ocean of good deeds. So this is Uthman, the Shaheed, the martyr. So here the Prophet ﷺ, he informed in this prophecy about that Sayyidina Uthman is going to be a caliph. And what is going to happen to him. And as you know, he was martyred. He was assassinated by the criminals who came from outside Arabia, led by Abdullah ibn Saba, the mastermind of the fitna that happened between the Sahaba. عن عائشة رضي الله عنها أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال يا عثمان إنه لعل الله يقمصك قميصا فإن أرادوك على خلعه فلا تخلعه لهم. رواه الترمذي والحاكم. رواه الشيخ مقبل بن هادي الوادعي رحمه الله في الصحيح المسند، والألباني رحمه الله في تخريج كتاب السنة. The meaning of this beautiful hadith and this prophecy Uthman narrated Aisha radiallahu anha that the Prophet ﷺ said, O Uthman, indeed Allah may give you a shirt. Indeed Allah may give you a shirt you wear. And if they wish that you take it off, do not take it off for them. The shirt here represents the caliphate. It is a symbol of the Khilafah. So if they want you to remove, that means to leave the Khilafah for them, don't obey them. Don't. And that's what he did, and he was martyred, radiallahu anhu. So here, the Prophet ﷺ prophesied, and this prophecy was fulfilled. إن الله لعل الله يقمصك قميصا. So Allah is going to give you this shirt. this responsibility to be the caliph of the Muslims. فَإِنْ أَرَادُوكَ عَلَى خَلْعِهِ. So there are people who will ask you to remove it. Don't obey them. Don't listen to them. And he didn't. And he was martyred and was killed, as you know, when he was reading the Quran. He was a very old man, fasting. He told the Sahaba who were guarding him, guarding his house, I don't want any drop of blood to be shed because of me. Leave me alone. Go to your home. And the criminals, they entered and they killed him. His blood fell on the Quran. His shirt was soaked with blood, and that shirt was taken to Syria, to Muawiyah, because he is the closest to him from the blood ties, and he is entitled to ask for the qisas, retaliation. So this prophecy, and Sayyidina Uthman radiallahu anhu, he is the only one we know applied this hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned during time of fitan between Muslims, the one who is killed is better than the killer. So here the Prophet ﷺ said in this hadith, which Ibn Uthman implemented and applied and acted upon that hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, إِذَا بَهَرَكَ شُعَاعُ سَيْفِهِ, when the brightness of the sword make you a dazzle, you can't see, فَالْقِ بِثَوْبِكَ عَلَى وَجْهِكَ, cover your face, وَلْيَبُوا بِإِثْمِكَ وَإِثْمِهِ, and let him bear the sin of killing you. Who's going to do this? A Muslim is coming to kill me, so I cover my face and I behave like the son of Adam, you know, Habil and Gabil, Abel and Cain. When Abel wanted to kill Cain, Cain wanted to kill Abel, or Qabil wanted to kill Habil, he told him, I'm not going to use my hand or stretch my hand forward to hurt you, to kill you. I will not do that because I fear Allah. So Qabil killed his brother, as you know. And he didn't know what to do with the body. So Allah sent a crow, two crows fighting, and one killed the other. Then the one that killed the other crow dug a hole and buried it. So the son of Adam learned how to bury dead bodies from the animals, from the birds. And that was the first crime happened on earth. The first crime, first bloodshed. And every day bloodshed happens, crime is committed. The first son of Adam, Qabil, Cain, gets portion of that. It's written in his record. So all the crimes committed, he will be held accountable for that, because he is the one who taught the people how to kill, taught humanity. So Sayyidina Uthman, he did not resist. He did not do anything. And he was martyred. This hadith, we hardly hear it during time of fitan. We hear only the other ahadith. If someone wants to take your property or attack your family, fight him. If you kill him, he will go to hell. If he kills you, you will be a martyr. So we hear only the hadith like that. For Sayyidina Uthman, he acted upon that hadith according to the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, and he did not show any resistance. And he told the Sahaba not to defend him. He didn't want any Muslim to be hurt because of him. But he refused to give them the shirt. Okay? To leave the caliphate and the khilafah. So that's what they asked him. And that's exactly what the Prophet ﷺ said. Okay? They will ask you to remove your shirt, so don't listen to them. فَلَا تَخْلَعُوا. Don't ever take it off for them. Even if that cost you your life. And that's what cost him his life. But he did not remove the shirt. He remained as a Khalifa and died as a Khalifa. Radiallahu anhu. So that was Dhun Nurayn, radiallahu anhu, Sayyidina Uthman. Another prophecy, and this is about another companion of the Prophet ﷺ, Abu Dharr al-Ghifari. Abu Dharr al-Ghifari is from the tribe of Ghifar. He was one of the early Muslims, a Muslim in Mecca. And when he became a Muslim, he went straight to the Haram and shouting that I have become a Muslim. And Quraysh, all of them got up beating him. And he was fighting them, and they were fighting him till he could not see anything except blood all over. So one of them came and said, guys, leave him. Don't you know he is from Ghifar? His tribe, if you kill him, you will never get a grain, a seed of grain, any grain of wheat or barley will reach you. They will stop your caravans, because all the caravans, they pass through their territories. So that is Sayyidina Abu Dharr al-Ghifari radiallahu anhu. Sayyidina Abu Dharr, he holds an opinion and he believes. What is surplus beyond your need, you should not hoard it, you should not store it, you should not save it. You should spend it fi sabilillah. That is what he believed. You should lead an ascetic life, the life of zuhd, renounce this dunya. And that is not easy for everyone. And to impose such conviction and such belief on everyone, it's difficult. So he was preaching that, talking about it, asking the people to renounce this worldly benefit and should not be totally engrossed and absorbed into the life of the dunya. And that made him suffer a lot. And finally, he decided to leave the cities and the towns and to go to a remote area, Rabda, away from the fitna of the dunya and the pleasures of this worldly life. And he died there. And this prophecy talks about that. لما حضرت أبا ذر الوفاة بكيت, because he is now with his wife in this place, a Rabda, remote area. So when death approaches him, his wife cried. فقال وما يبكيك? Why do you cry? فقلت, his wife said, وما لي لا أبكي وأنت تموت بفلاة من الأرض? Why shouldn't I cry when you are dying in a remote area? وليس عندي ثوب, I don't have any piece of cloth to use as a shroud. يسعك كفنا. That's why I'm crying. I'm crying because I don't have any shroud, any piece of cloth to wrap your body in it. ولا يدان لي في تغييبك, and my hands cannot help me to bury you and to lower you into the grave. That's why I'm helpless, I'm crying. قال, he said to his wife, أبشري ولا تبكي. Have glad tidings and be happy and do not cry. فإني سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول, I heard Allah's Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم saying, لا يموت بين امرأين مسلمين ولدان أو ثلاث فيصفران ويحتسبان فيريان النار أبدا. I heard Allah's Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم saying, no one who loses two children, or two of his children, or three, die during his lifetime, and he showed and exhibit patience, seeking by that Allah's reward, their parents will not see the fire. Never see the fire. They will go to the Jannah. So, my dear brothers and sisters, so if you lose and any of your children die, okay, the reward is so great if you show the beautiful patience. And they will be a shield for you from the hellfire. And that's what happened to Abu Dhar. So he is consoling his wife, telling her, don't worry. Didn't you not hear what the Prophet ﷺ said? And we lost some of our children. وإني سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول لنفر أنا فيهم. Also, he's reminding his wife, I have heard Allah's Messenger صلى الله عليه وسلم addressing a group of us, and I was one of them. Sahaba. He said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, لَيَمُوتَنَّ رَجُلٌ مِنْكُمْ بِفَلَاتٍ مِنَ الْأَرْضِ يَشْهَدُهُ عِصَابَةٌ مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. This is the prophecy. لَيَمُوتَنَّ رَجُلٌ مِنْكُمْ بِفَلَاةٍ. One of you, he's addressing the Sahaba, and say, one of you will die in a remote area, okay, and a group of the mu'mineen will witness his burial. وليس من أولئك النفر أحد إلا وقد مات في قرية وجماعة. And he said, all, because he recalls what the Prophet said, and he knows the names of those who were present, and they all died. He said, وَلَيْسَ مِنْ أُولَئِكَ النَّفَرِ, and none of those individuals, except that he died in a village or in a town or in a group of people. And no one is dying alone in a remote area except myself. فَأَنَا ذَلِكَ الرَّجُلُ, I am that man. So he's telling her the prophecy fits me. And I'm that man. Wallahi ma kadabtu, I did not lie. Wala kudibtu, neither that I lied or belied. What I heard, my prophet told me the truth. فَأَبْصِرِ الطَّرِيقِ. So look, please, he's telling his wife when he was dying, go and have a look. There must be people will come and will witness my burial. Because that's what the Prophet ﷺ said. يَشْهَدْهُ عِصَابَةٌ مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. A group of the mu'mineen will attend his funeral prayer. So he's telling his wife, go. فَقُلْتُ أَنَّ, how come? وَقَدْ ذَهَبَتَ الْحَاجِ. The pilgrims, normally they pass by Al-Rabda. They all, it's not now, the season of the Hajj is over. Yeah, it is season of the Hajj, people, they pass. أَنَّ وَقَدْ ذَهَبَتَ الْحَاجِ. The pilgrims, they have gone. وَتَقَطَّعَتَ الطُّرُقِ. And the ways, they are the void of wayfarers. فقال اذهبي فتبصري. Please go and look. قالت فكنت أشتد على الكثيب فأتبصر. أشتد على الكثيب, I climb these dunes around me to look from high place if there is anyone, anywhere, wayfarer or any traveler. فكنت أشتد على الكثيب فأتبصر ثم أرجع فأمرضه. Then I come back to him and help him in his sickness. فبينما هو وأنا كذلك, while we are in that situation, إذا أنا برجال على رحلهم. All of a sudden I started to see men on their mounts, their camels. كأنهم الرخم, like the vultures, Egyptian vultures. Because if you are seeing people in the horizon from a long distance in the desert, you would see them like if they are birds. The mount. كأنهم الرخم تخب بهم رواحلهم. Okay, so their mounts are running. قالت, so they spotted her, they saw her. قالت فأسرعوا إلي. So when they saw me, they ran to me and they rushed to me. إلي حين وقفوا علي فقالوا يا أمة الله ما لك, O servant of Allah, what is your matter? What's the problem? قلت, I told them, I said, امرؤ من المسلمين يموت فتكفنونه. There's a Muslim man here who's dying, and I wanted you to give him the burial wash and to bury him. قالوا ومن هو? They asked her, who's he? قالت أبو ذر. This man is Abu Dhar. قالوا صاحب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, the companion of the Prophet? قلت نعم. ففدوه بآبائهم وأمهاتهم. They said, may our fathers and mothers be sacrificed for him. This is a way in the Arabic language to show respect. وأسرعوا إليه, and they rushed to him. حتى دخلوا عليه فقال لهم. So they went to Abu Dhar, they entered upon him, and when he saw them, he told them, أبشروا, have glad tidings, be happy. فإني سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول لنفر أنا فيهم. So now he's conveying the good news to this group of people, because the hadith, the Prophet said, a group of the mu'mineen. So you are the mu'mineen. سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول لنفر أنا فيهم. I heard the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم saying to a group of us, individuals, I was one of them, لا يموتن رجل منكم, a man of you will die in a remote area من الأرض يشهده عصابة من المؤمنين, a group of the mu'mineen, the believers, will witness his death and his burial. وليس من أولئك النفر رجل, and no one of those who were present إلا وقد هلك, that he died في جماعة, in a group among his people. فوالله, by Allah, ما كذبت, I did not lie, ولا كذبت. The one who told me the truth, the Prophet ﷺ. Then he said, إنه لو كان عندي ثوب يسعني كفنا لي أو لامرأتي لم أكفن إلا في ثوب هو لي أو لها. He said, by Allah, see the zuhud of Sayyidina Abu Dhar radiallahu anhu. He said, had I got piece of cloth which is sufficient for me to be used as the shroud or belongs to my wife, I would never accept anything, any shroud or any piece of cloth from anyone, except this piece of cloth which I have or my wife has. Then he told them, Inni anshudukumullah, I ask you for the sake of Allah, and I ask you by Allah Azza wa Jal, أن يكفنني رجل أنشدكم الله أن يكفنني رجل منكم كان أميرا أو عريفا أو بريدا أو نقيدا. لا إله إلا الله, لا إله إلا الله. Said, I ask you for the sake of Allah, none of you who was Amir, if any of you was an Amir, governor, or Arifan, chief of a tribe. So he's mentioning titles. So if one of you is a prince, is an Amir, was a governor, I don't want him to participate in the burial wash. I don't want him to wrap the shroud around my body. I don't want him. If any one of you is a chief in his tribe, I don't want him. Why? Because normally, if you are a governor, maybe you wrong someone because of you are in that position, authority you have. You might commit injustice, dhulm. So he doesn't want any zalim to touch him, even to wrap him in the shroud. or Arifan, a chief of the tribe, again. Or Baridan, someone, a carrier of the correspondence, the postman, the one who is taking the letters from one governor to another, from one person in authority to another one. I don't want him. Also, Al Naqiban, a chief person of authority, a person who's having responsibility. I don't want anyone, if you have any one of you had been and in this such position and post. فليس من أولئك النفر أحد وقد قارف بعض ما قال. All of them, all of them. Maybe one was a governor, another one was a chief, another one was carrier of the messages and postman, except one young man from the Ansar who didn't occupy any of such posts. إلا فتى من الأنصار قال أنا أكفنك يا عم. I am the one who is going to give you and to do the burial wash and to wrap you in the shroud. أكفنك في ردائي, I will use my cloak as a shroud for you. And you'll use this, and I have another 2 pieces of cloth. My mother, so assuring Sayyidina Abu Dhar, assuring him that it is my mother had woven them, made them, stitched them. فقال أبو ذر أنت فكفني, you're the one who should be put the shroud around my body. فكفنه الأنصاري في النفر الذين حضروا وقاموا عليه ودفنوه في نفر كلهم يمان. Okay, so after he was wrapped in the shrouds, they performed the janazah and they buried him. And all those men, they were Yemenites. They were Yemenites. This is authentic hadith reported by Ibn Hibban in his Sahih. Sayyidina Abu Dhar radiyallahu anhu, the Prophet ﷺ said also in another authentic hadith in Tirmidhi, he said, ما أضلت الخضراء ولا أقلت الغبراء أصدق من أبي ذر. There is no one more truthful that the sky has shaded and the earth has carried than Abu Dhar radiyallahu anhu. So this prophecy was fulfilled, and may Allah shower His mercy upon the soul of Sayyidina Abu Dhar radiyallahu anhu, and may Allah reward him immensely, and may Allah elevate his status in Jannat al-Na'im, and may Allah keep him and raise him in the company of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions. Ameen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us among those who will tread upon the path of the Prophet ﷺ and his companions, and may Allah Azza wa Jal raise us in their company. Ameen. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us remain steadfast on this beautiful deen al-Islam. Ameen. And may Allah Azza wa Jal forgive us our faults and mistakes and ignorance. And may Allah reward all of you, my dear brothers and sisters, immensely for your patience and attendance. Barakallahu feekum, jazakumullahu khayra, wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaykum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakumullahu khair, Sheikh Salim, for today's beautiful lessons and today's beautiful reminders on all these stories from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's time. For those of you who have been watching, please make sure that you are taking notes in these lessons. It will benefit you solely, and it will benefit your future generations who find your notes that you have taken, and they will learn from these lessons. So please don't forget to be taking notes with your friends and your families. You cannot miss out on these teachings and these lessons and these stories. Please don't forget to also leave a like on the video and share it to your friends and your family so that they can watch these lives, and they can subscribe and they can turn on the notifications so that they are notified of when we go live, so that they don't miss these lessons, and so that they can be notified of whenever we do end up going live for these Saturdays and Sundays lessons, matters of the heart and fundamentals of Tawheed. And with that being said, we can start with the Q&A. Don't forget to join the WhatsApp group, message the ep43 phone and join the WhatsApp group so that you can ask your questions. I will also be answering from the live chat if you ask there, inshallah. Our first question is asking, Sheikh, my grandmother, who was 78 years old, passed away last night. In funeral prayer, is it essential to raise the hands during takbir? If someone is praying behind an imam in funeral prayer, says takbir without raising his hands, is his prayer valid? And Sheikh, can you please make dua for my grandmother? Jazakallah khair.
Ameen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shower His mercy in her soul. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala place her Firdaus al-A'la. Ameen. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless her family. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive her all her sins. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make her grave part and the piece of the Jannah, garden of the Jannah. Ameen. Regarding the funeral prayer, raising the hands in the salah, Ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma used to do that. So the ulama, they said Ibn Umar is the sixth follower of the Sunnah, so he must have seen the Prophet ﷺ doing that. So if you raise your hands, that is fine. And if you don't raise the hands, that is fine, because the ahadith did not mention explicitly raising the hands, apart from what Ibn Umar did. And that's why those who say you don't raise your hands, they said had the Prophet ﷺ raised his hands in the funeral prayer, the Sahaba would have reported that. Because it's not one individual praying. Group are praying behind the Prophet ﷺ, and they would have seen him, and then they would have reported that. Since they did not report that, which means that he was not raising his hands. So this is how the issue between the ulama. So if I pray behind an imam who's raising his hands, I will follow, no problem. If he didn't, then the salah is correct. This has nothing to do with the validity of the salah. I hope this is clear to the questioner.
Jazakumullahu khair. Our next question is asking, Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. If the fasting of the white days falls on a Friday, should we observe it since fasting on Fridays is not desirable?
Yeah, if it falls in the white days, for example, you have Wednesday this month, it happened Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So there's no problem. Okay, because you fasted Thursday before it. And as you know, there's a hadith when the Prophet ﷺ, he saw one of his wives fasting Friday. He said, "Did you fast yesterday?" Which means Thursday. She said, "No." Are you intending? Do you intend? Do you intend to fast tomorrow, Saturday? She said, "No." He said, "Break your fast." So if it is happened in the number of days, the white days, there is no harm, inshallah. Next.
Jazakumullahu khair. Our next question is asking if Cain, Qabil, will be held accountable for the killings on earth because he taught humans how to do so. Does this mean that he will be put in hellfire because of it, or will he be pardoned by Allah?
The apparent evidence that he will be punished for that. But whether Allah will forgive him or not, that is something up to Allah Azza wa Jal. Okay? Up to Allah Azza wa Jal. But this shows that the danger of the bid'ah, when you innovate something, you invent a way of evil, then you bear the consequences of that. Next.
Jazakumullahu khair. Our next question is a follow-up question on the question about the funeral prayer. They are asking if the Imam of the funeral prayer quickly goes to the fourth takbir and starts taslim, and the person praying behind him is still making the dua for the deceased, is his prayer still valid?
You have to follow the Imam. The Imam concluded the salah, you conclude the salah. إنما جعل الإمام ليؤتم به. So always, this is very important. In all types of prayers, you follow the Imam. Prayers concluded, conclude the salah and follow the Imam. Next.
Jazakumullahu khair. There was a hadith that was mentioned earlier, and one of the questioners would like you to explain it, if that's okay. I believe you explained it earlier, but they might have missed it. So, shall I read the hadith out?
Read it.
Okay. It was narrated from Abu Hurairah, may Allah be pleased with him, that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "The hour will not begin until the land of the Arabs once again becomes meadows and rivers."
Yeah, just explained it today. I mentioned this, maybe the questioner came late.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, I mentioned this, that this is one of the signs of the hours. Before Arabia turns into rivers and meadows, the hour will not start. So that's why I'm saying there is a bright future. So be optimistic. Okay? The deen is going to spread, and alhamdulillah. And the Muslims are going to have the upper hand. All that, we have no doubt. We have no doubt about that. Next.
Jazakumullahu khair. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. I have a question. If we take ghusl in the sunnah way, will we be rewarded for that, for following the sunnah?
Absolutely, yes. When you make a ghusl according to the sunnah, you will be rewarded because you are following the Prophet ﷺ. And so following the sunnah, the definition of the sunnah, if you do it, you will be rewarded. And if you don't, you'll not be punished. Of course, here, this is the definition of sunnah from the usuli perspective. Because sunnah has different meanings according to the jargon of the people. So you have to understand this. So if a muhaddith is saying it is sunnah, it's different from a jurist, a faqih, who's saying it is sunnah. Because to the muhaddith, scholar of hadith, when he's saying sunnah, it means the whole deen is sunnah. This is the sunnah, the way of the Prophet ﷺ. And it can be fard, obligatory, and it's called sunnah. So you have to understand the terminology. But if you are reading in the books of fiqh, so here you have to understand the terminology sunnah in the context and according to the terminologies of the jurists, the fuqaha, which means it is one of the 5 rulings. Haram, prohibited. It is something, if you do it, you will be sinful. And if you refrain from it, you will be rewarded. Then, fard, if you do it, you will be rewarded. And if you leave it, you don't do this fard, you'll be punished. You are sinful. Then you have the sunnah, recommended. If you do it, you will be rewarded. If you don't, you will not be accountable. You are not sinful. And then you have the makruh. If you leave it, you will be rewarded. If you don't, you will not be accountable and you are not sinful. And then the halal. So you have to understand. So when you are saying doing the ghusl according to the way of the Prophet ﷺ, and how the Prophet ﷺ performed the ghusl, yes, absolutely, you'll be rewarded, inshallah. Next.
Jazakumullahu khair. Our next question is asking about the criminals who had murdered Uthman, may Allah be pleased with him. They are asking if it is known, if the reason for why they had murdered him known.
Yeah, they have been brainwashed by Abdullah ibn Saba. Abdullah ibn Saba was a Jew. Okay? And he is the mastermind behind it. So he saying that Uthman is unjust and he's a tyrant and he is giving these positions in the Khilafah to his relatives and all these lies. Okay? So he's misusing the authority and his position, and so he poisoned their minds and he filled their heart with hatred against Sayyidina Uthman. That is the reason. Next.
Jazakumullahu khair. Our next question is asking, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. There's a charity that makes wigs for children under the age of 24 who have lost their hair due to cancer. Can one donate their hair to such causes? I'm conscious of the hadith that states the Prophet ﷺ said Allah has cursed the maker and wearer of a wig, and I wanted to know if there's any exemptions to this hadith for such causes. Jazakallah khair.
No exemption. No exemption. Because the Prophet ﷺ, a woman came to him and said that my daughter now she is going to get married, and she had measles. Measles is a disease, sickness. And because of the measles, she lost her hair. Imagine, she's a bride, and on her wedding day, she has no hair, except few hairs left. So the mother is embarrassed, and in having this, she doesn't know what to do. So she asked the Prophet ﷺ, can I make her wear a wig, artificial hair? He said, no. May Allah curse the one who wears it, the artificial hair or the wig. So in this difficult situation, the Prophet ﷺ was not tolerant, and he did not make any exception. Is it clear? Next.
Our next question is asking, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Sheikh, earlier on you mentioned about not speculating about the hadith, that it means this or that this certain hadith means something else. So does the same ruling apply to those who lately point out that a group of people or nations, maybe the Ya'juj and Ma'juj and so on, based on the oppression and their description in Surah Kahf?
Again.
So they are asking that in the same way that we should not speculate about certain hadith, we should not speculate about different people or nations, accusing them of that maybe they are the Ya'juj and Ma'juj for what they do and how they were described in Surah Al-Kahf.
No, it's different because the Prophet ﷺ, he said Gog and Magog, and these are human beings and tribes, known tribes. And so some, they said maybe they are the Chinese. Okay, some of the ulama said, contemporary scholars said that. But Chinese are roaming around all over the earth. And Gog and Magog, they are still trapped behind the wall. So they cannot be the Chinese. They are human beings. They multiply. And they are behind this wall, which we don't know the exact location of it. And it is from the sign of the hour. And not because we don't see it, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Just in the same way we don't see the throne of Iblis. Throne of Iblis is on earth, and the Prophet ﷺ in Sahih Muslim, when he tested Ibn al-Sayyad, and he asked him, what do you see? He said, I'm seeing a mighty and big, colossal throne and people around it. Said, yes, that is the throne of Iblis. Where is this throne of Iblis? We don't know. It is here on earth with us. Not because we don't see it. And to say, you know what? The satellites scan the whole earth. No single part of it except it is surveyed and scanned. So we don't see this throne. So then it doesn't exist. This is not any. This is any person who has common sense and rational should not think this way. Don't you see every day they are discovering new places that they were not known to them? And the satellites didn't spot that? Okay. And if Allah doesn't want you to see this thing yet, Allah doesn't want you to see it. Can Allah make that or not? Of course. The Prophet ﷺ, he told about the Antichrist or the Dajjal that he's locked in an island in the Arabian Sea. That's what I said. Can you deny that? Because you don't see it? This is nonsense. Okay. So when the Prophet ﷺ talked about them, about Ya'juj and Ma'juj, Gog and Magog, that this is what will happen, and a time will come and they come out towards the end of time. And Isa ibn Maryam, by that time, he had already descended, and he would tell the Muslims, now we cannot fight them, seek shelter in the mountains. And they come to the lake of Tabariya, okay, Galilee, yes, Galilean Sea. They drink it, they finish it. And now the level in that lake is dropping. Nowadays, yes, it is recessing, which means it is a sign. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because they spread corruption and they kill everyone. So much so they will say, we finished the people on earth. Let us fight the people in heaven. And they would shoot their arrows towards the sky. And the arrows, they would fall down, dripping with blood, soaked in blood. They say, also we finished the people in heaven also. Then Allah sends worms eating them in their necks. And all of them, they die. Then Isa alayhi salam would tell one of the Muslimin, can anyone check? And he will come down to check and he will find all of them dead. Then Allah will send birds of prey to take them away to a place only Allah knows. Then the sky will start to rain and wash the earth of their dirt. This is what we believe in, and this is what our Prophet ﷺ told us. Next, please.
Sheikh, can you hear me?
Now I can hear you.
Oh,
Next, please.
Oh, okay. Sorry, my audio wasn't coming through. I don't know what happened. I'm just gonna check and see if it's okay. Our next question is asking. Our next question is a follow-up question asking about the charity that was making the wigs. They're asking if you could tell us where this hadith of the mother that came to the Prophet can be found. Do you know what book it can be found in, or if there's a website? Jazakallah khair.
If you go and check on the Durar, and if you send me, I will send you. Just ask her to send you the question, or send you their question, and forward it to me and send it to you right now.
Okay, inshallah. Okay, so for the question that was asking for that, for the book that it can be found in, I will, inshallah, I can get that from Sheikh and I can message it to you, or Sheikh can message it to you directly, inshallah. By the looks of it, this is the end of the Q&A session. Please don't forget about the prayer tops that we need for the Eid Salah, or if you can donate any gazebos that you might have, or again like the masalla. Please don't forget to contact the Al-Fitra phone, because we need as much as we can get so that everyone on Eid Day will have shade and will have a place to pray, inshallah, so that it will be wide enough so no one has to pray straight onto the grass, and they can have like some sort of tarp on the floor. Or if you can donate to the One Eid website, that will work too, and we can use the money to pay for the tarps, inshallah. Don't forget to also leave a like and share the video so that other people can notice it, so that YouTube algorithm can spread it across YouTube, so we can get more people who can tune in, inshallah. Don't forget to subscribe and turn the notification bell so you're notified of whenever we go live, in case the times change. And also don't forget to send some feedback in the WhatsApp group or in the live chat, so that we know how we can improve, or so that Sheikh knows how these lessons are going for you guys. And with that being said, inshallah, Sheikh, if you have any last words, I can pass it over to you, inshallah.
Yeah, I just checked the hadith, and it is in Bukhari and it is in Muslim. Okay, if you check in Bukhari, you'll find it. What is written here, hadith 5,934 in Bukhari, and in Muslim 2,123.
Jazakumullahu khair. I'll send it to them now. If you could repeat it, I can. So 5,940, you said, of Bukhari?
Yeah, it is in Bukhari 5,934 and in Muslim 2,123.
Okay, I've sent it to them. Jazakallah khair.
Yeah. So it is a sin. It is a sin, and people should avoid doing these things. And maybe the number will be different according to the print, maybe. But it is in Bukhari and Muslim. Next.
So that was the last question, inshallah. So I can pass it over to you, inshallah, if you have any last words, and we can wrap up, inshallah, today.
Jazakumullah khair, barakallah feekum. May Allah bless you. May Allah bless your family, protect you, protect your family. And may Allah Azza wa Jalla increase our knowledge in the deen, and may Allah forgive us our faults and mistakes and ignorance. Until we meet, inshallah, tomorrow, Bidnillahi Azza wa Jalla, I leave you in Allah's company and protection. Bihifdillahi wa ra'ayatihi. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
سبيل الدموع سبيل مريد